National Investigation Agency in the case of State versus Samir and others. Your Honor, the council would be addressing the court for 14 minutes and would be proving to you beyond any reasonable doubt that the accused shall be held guilty under section 121, 123, 201, along with section 120 capital B of Indian Penal Code 1860. Your Honor, the Honorable Court has jurisdiction over the present matter under section 13 of National Investigation Agency Act 2008. Your Honor, the present case is a perfect example of initially brainwashed citizens turning into the real traitors of the country by attempting to wage a war against the government of India in order to hurt the sovereignty of their very own nation and to create terror in the minds of innocent people of India. Your Honor, in the present case, the police caught two people, namely Samir and Monu, carrying high quality counterfeit fake currency notes.
जरा अपना mic ठीक. Just I am unable to hear you properly. Either speak in the high pitch.
Am I audible, Your Honor?
Yes.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, in the present case, the police caught two people, namely Samir and Monu, carrying high-quality counterfeit Indian currency notes in Old Delhi railway station on 25th February 2015. They were immediately arrested, and on further investigation by police and National Investigation Agency, they found out that the FINCs found were not just being smuggled, but the smuggling of such notes was done with an intention to attack the army convoy in Pulwama. Your Honor, further, the NIA along with the police arrested the third accused, that is Kallu at the rate Mama, who was the handler of fake currency notes, who also disclosed his involvement in conspiracy to attack the army convoy. He also disclosed that the main handlers of the whole operation were Sohil and Peter. Your Honor, all the accused were well aware about the plan to attack the army convoy in Pulwama. Your Honor, with the help of several substantial and circumstantial evidences, the council will prove that the accused shall be held liable under section 121, 123, 201, 489 capital B, 489 capital C, and 120 capital B of Indian Penal Code 1860, and section 16, 17, 18, and 20 of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967. Your Honor, the council will deal with the charges under section 121, 123, 201, and 120 capital B of Indian Penal Code. If Your Honor do not have any preliminary inquiry, the council seeks permission to move on to the charges. The council seeks permission to move on to the charges.
Please proceed.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, the council will before starting the primary arguments of the council submits that the worthy defense counsel has heavily relied on section 100 of CRPC in their written submission. However, Your Honor, this procedure established under section 100 of CRPC pertains to the seizure made by the police officer in a private property and the rights of the owner. And section 100 of CRPC is immaterial in the present case. Moreover, Your Honor, the council submits that in order to prove their charges, the council have two major submissions here. First, that there are enough circumstantial evidences and substantial evidences to show that the accused attempted an attack against the army convoy. And second, that the acts of the accused fulfill the elements under section 121, 123, 201, and 120 capital B of Indian Penal Code 1860. Your Honor, moving on to the first submission, Your Honor, the council submits that there are sufficient evidences to prosecute the accused in the present case. Your Honor, in the case of Manu Sharma versus State, Your Honor, before starting the argument, the council seeks permission to show the compendium. Much obliged, Your Honor. Ms. Pandey, if you may please screen share the compendium.
Just a minute, there is some network problem. I'll just do it.
Meanwhile, shall I continue, Your Honors? Your Honor, much obliged. Thank you, Ms. Pandey. Your Honor, in the case of Manu Sharma versus State, also known as infamous case of Jessica Lal murder, as presented on page number 16 and 17 of the compendium, the court held that the call records and the data of call records is admissible evidence in the court of law and holds a high evidentiary value in the court of law to prove the guilt of the accused. Moreover, Your Honor, the CFSL reports clearly shows that the notes seized by the police from accused 1 and accused 2 are of high quality counterfeit currency nature. Your Honor, in the present case, the disclosure statements of the accused are admissible and hold equal value as to any other evidences. Your Honor, according to Section 27 of the Indian Evidence Act, statements given to the police leading to new discovery of facts are admissible as a valid evidence in the court of law. Your Honor, in the case of Vasant Sampat Dumpare versus State of Maharashtra, Honorable Court followed the principle of Manu Sharma versus State, which can be seen on page number 19 and 20 of the compendium. Page number 19 and 20 of the compendium. The Supreme Court held that any statement given by the accused to the police are admissible if leads to the new discovery of facts. And in the present case, Your Honor, the accused disclosed the whole story to the police, which led to discovery of new facts, such as whole plan to attack the army convoy and the arrest of third accused, that is Kallu at the Red Mama. And the involvement of Sohil and Peter being the main handler of the attacks were also disclosed. Additionally, Your Honor, any facts disclosed by the accused against Sohil are admissible, since he is not one of the he's not one of the accused under the present charge sheet. Moreover, Your Honor, discovery of new places, as can be seen on page number 17, as can be seen on paragraph 17.27 of the charge sheet. Such places where the discoveries and where deals were made were disclosed by the statements of the accused. Moreover, Your Honor, according to the case of Queen Emperor versus Jagrup, present on page number 22 of the compendium, the court held that any statement given to police which does not amount to confession is inadmissible evidence. In the present case, the accused in their statements presented on page number 12, 13, and 14 of the compendium, as highlighted, clearly have stated that they were part of an organization which can help them they wanted to be part of an organization which can help them to conduct training programs against the government. Your Honor, such statements does not amount to the confession, therefore shall be held admissible in the court of law. In addition to it, Your Honor, Kallu at the Red Mama stated that they were receiving funds from Pakistan and Bangladesh for the upliftment of their organization. Your Honor, the prosecution is presenting CDR reports under Section 46 of the UAPA Act. Your Honor, Section 46 of UAPA Act provides a proviso clause, and according to which any electronic evidence is admissible and can be relied on by the court, notwithstanding any provision in the Indian Evidence Act 1872. Moreover, Your Honor, mobile phones of all the accused are present, which makes any compliance under Indian Evidence Act immaterial. Therefore, Your Honor, the locations of the accused, the connection between all the accused can be easily proved by the CDR reports. Your Honor, it is a substantial and an established principle of law that a witness may lie, but not the circumstances. Your Honor, in the case of Vilas Pandugad Patil versus State of Maharashtra, 2004 SCC, AIR 2004, presented on page number 25 of the compendium. Page number 25 of the compendium, the court held that direct and ocular evidences are not necessary to prove the guilt, and the guilt can be proved through circumstantial evidences. Your Honor, in the present case, the accused had an organization which gave training program against the government. The organization was funded by Pakistan, and later they were arrested with 2 bags full of currency in the capital of India. The accused were in connection with criminals like Iqbal Khan and Sohil. Moreover, Kallu at the Red Mama was present near the borders of the Bangladesh, which directed the funding of their organization. Moreover, Your Honor, Peter was present in Pulwama, where the whole attack to army convoy was planned. Moreover, Your Honor, Sohil is also absconded. Your Honor, all these circumstances leads to only one conclusion, that the accused were part of an organization which were conducting training programs against the government and was funded by Pakistan to attack the army convoy in Pulwama. Your Honor, such circumstances are enough to prove the guilt of the accused. as it forms a chain of connection without any reasonable doubt. Your Honor, circumstantial evidences in corroboration of substantial evidences like CFSL reports and CDR reports, additionally seizure memo, are more than enough to prove the involvement of all the accused in a criminal act. Your Honor, it is most humbly submitted that the accused have been charged under Section 121 and 123 of the Indian Penal Code. Therefore, Your Honor, according to Section 111, capital A of Indian Evidence Act, the presumption of innocence is not given to the accused, and the duty lies on the defense counsel to prove their case beyond any reasonable doubt that the accused were not involved in an attempt to wage a war against the government of India. If Your Honors do not have any questions, the council seeks permission to move on to the next submission.
Please proceed.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, as shown by the council, that the evidences produced by the prosecution are more than enough to reach to a conclusion that the accused were involved in a conspiracy to attack the army convoy. However, Your Honor, the acts of the accused also fulfills the substantial elements of the crime. Your Honor, Section 121 of Indian Penal Code criminalizes the attempt to wage a war against the government of India. Your Honor, according to the case of Muhammad Amir, Muhammad Ajmal Kasab versus State of Maharashtra, as shown on footnote number 5 of the memorial and page number 30, 31, and 32 of the compendium. Thank you, Ms. Pandey. The court held that waging war refers to a war in fashion as a foreign enemy would do. In the same case, the court held that the accused attacked the people there only because they were the citizens of India, which would amount an offense under Section 121 of Indian Penal Code for hurting the sovereignty of the country, as the court stated that the real sovereignty of the country lies in the citizens of the country. And attacking or attempting to attack the citizens of country amount to attack on the sovereignty of the nation. Similarly, in the present case, Your Honor, the accused have attempted to wage a war against the army convoy. Therefore, they shall be held liable under Section 121 of Indian Penal Code. Additionally, Your Honor, in the case of Navjot Sandhu versus NCT of Delhi, the court held that planning such an attack that, if would have executed, would have spelled the disaster for a whole nation. The undoubted objective of the determination of the accused was to impinge the sovereign authority of the nation and its government. Even if the conspired purpose of objective falls short of installing some authorities or entity in the place of an established government, it does not detract the charges from offense of waging war under Section 121 of Indian Penal Code 1860. Similarly, in the present case, Your Honor, the accused had planned to attack the army convoy and the sole purpose of attack the army was to prove the point that the India is not a country worth living. Moreover, Your Honor, planning and preparation was done in such a way that foreign enemy would have done it. Furthermore, the attack that the accused planned was to hurt the sovereignty of the nation and was done with the sole purpose of showing that the India is not at all safe in the hands of the government. Your Honor, the council submits that the actus reus in the present case is immaterial because of two reasons. First, that Section 121 criminalizes. With the permission of the court, the council seeks 2 minutes extra to conclude the argument. With the permission of the court, the council seeks 2 minutes extra to conclude their argument. Your Honor, the actus reus in the present case is immaterial because the preparation done by the accused fall under the definition of attempt on the basis of proximity, a proximity test and doctrine of locus potentia, according to the case of State of Maharashtra versus Muhammad Yaqub. The court held that the accused made the preparation but could not execute the crime. The court held that the accused held all the preparation, and it is only because of intervention of the custom officer and the police officer they could not succeed in their attempt, and the accused were held guilty for the attempt. Similarly, in the present case, Your Honor, it was second time that the accused organization prepared and attempted to attack. However, both the time accused were unsuccessful because of intervention of police. Hence, their preparation falls under the definition of attempt. Therefore, shall be held liable under Section 121 of Indian Penal Code 1860. Your Honor, in case of Shaukat Hussain Guru versus State of NCT Delhi, the court held that in order to prove Section 123 of IPC against the accused, the prosecution is required to prove that there was a concealment by an act or by illegal omission of existence of design to wage a war against the government of India. And he intended by such concealment to facilitate, or he knew that such concealment will facilitate a war. Similarly, in the present case, Your Honor, the accused have fulfilled all the elements of Section 121. Moreover, Your Honor, there was a concealment of facts by the accused regarding the attack against the government of India. Hence, it is proved that the accused have attempted to wage a war against the government of India. Additionally, they concealed the plan to attack a wage war against the government of India and shall be held liable under Section 123 of Indian Penal Code 1860. Additionally, Your Honor, moving on to the last charge, the council submits that in case of Manu Sharma versus state of NCT Delhi, the court held that the phone call details show that the accused were in touch with each other, which resulted in destruction of evidence and harboring. The close association is very important piece of evidence in case of circumstantial evidences. The evidences of phone calls is very relevant and admissible piece of evidence. Similarly, in the present case, the call details show that there was a constant contact between Peter and Kallu Mama, which is a crucial admissible form of evidence. In order to prove the guilt of accused, according to the circumstantial evidences, Peter directed Kallu at the rate Mama to destroy the evidences and flee. The Kallu at the rate Mama was able to destroy the evidences, but failed to flee from there. Hence, the accused shall be held under charges of Section 201 of Indian Penal Code 1860. Unless I can be of any more assistance to the court, the council rests its arguments and would like co-counsel to continue. The court master is not audible.
Hi, speaker. Now, who will speak?
The speaker number 2 from the side of the prosecution.
Very well.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, this is counsel number 2 from the side of the prosecution in the matters of state versus Sameer and others. Your Honor, the counsel number 2 shall be establishing charges under section 489B and C of the Indian Penal Code and establish charges under section 16, 17, 18 and 20 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act.
Excuse me, I just want to ask a question whether Garima ma'am is able to hear us or not.
Garima ji, are you able to hear us?
Can the court master until that time turn the timer off for just a minute? Hello, court master. Is all the judge present right now, or so that I could start my speech? Or is there any technical problems right now?
Have patience.
The court master is not audible right now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
As Garima ma'am have some connection in joining, internet connection problem are there going on. So Mr. Podar sir is there. She will be connecting in a minute or so. So you may present your contention in front of Mr. Podar sir by that time. He is
Okay, sure.
okay.
So give him 3 minutes relaxation,
Okay.
extra time.
So we are taking a 3 minute break so
No,
that
give him the advantage of 3 minutes because 3 minutes have wasted in this.
sure.
So give him extra 3 minutes.
Okay.
His
So,
time will
sir,
start now.
shall I start, sir?
Yes, you can proceed.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, in the present matter, it is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court that accused number 1 and 2, while traveling Farakka Express, were apprehended on 25th February at 10:55 hours. Your Honor, during the search of their bags, 2,000 rupees denomination, a total of 500 notes were recovered. Along with this recovery, mobile phone with SIM card, identity card, and small amount of cash along with general tickets were recovered. Your Honor, it is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court that in the present matter, the prosecution will prove to you beyond any doubt that in the present matter, the basic element required, that is mens rea, is present. Your Honor, in Uma Shankar versus State of Chhattisgarh, as stated in page number 44 of the compendium, the court observed the definition of mens rea is knowing or having reasons to believe the currency notes or banknotes are forged or counterfeit. Your Honor, it was further substantiated. Your Honor, it was further substantiated that without the aforementioned mens rea, buying or receiving from another person or otherwise trafficking is not enough to constitute an offense. Your Honor, it is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court with the help of various circumstantial and substantive evidences. Will be proved that in the present matter, both the accused has mens rea. Your Honor, as stated in page point number 17.5, 17.6, 17.10, 17.11, and specifically 17.26 and 31, they have clearly stated that both Samir and Monu used to receive 10% commission for the whole audio. Furthermore, Your Honor, it is humbly submitted that in this statement, Kallu Mama has also admitted to the fact that he was the perpetrator who used to receive cash from Sohail, that is accused 5, and used to help in transportation of trafficking of such amount of money from one place to another with the help of Samir and Moon. Furthermore, Your Honor, the reliance is placed upon the case of Abdul Fakir Sahib Mamtule versus State of Maharashtra on page number 47 of the compendium. In that case, Your Honor, it was observed that under 489B and C, guilt is fastened on the ground of knowledge or reasons to believe. Your Honor, it was stated that two or more are s than generous, which means of same kind. Your Honor, it was humbly stated and further observed in this case that explanation 2 of section 28 plays a very vital role and is of great significance. Your Honor, it was stated that it lays down a rebuttable presumption where in that case a person might be deceived. Thereby, in such a case, the intention or knowledge is presumed unless contrary is proved. Furthermore, Your Honor, it is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court that the particular matter, as stated by the counsel in the previous case, and this matter are of similar nature. Your Honor, in this particular matter, both the accused have been apprehended with 500 notes of fake currency. Furthermore, Your Honor, as stated by my co-counsel and will be further substantiated by the second counsel as well, CDR report clearly show connection between all the 5 accused in the present matter, and the CFSL report have clearly stated that these notes are of high quality counterfeit nature. Your Honor, these instances are not just mere circumstances or incidents that have happened before the court. Your Honor, these are the circumstantial evidences that prove the nature of guilt, that is knowledge of all the accused in the matter, and that is all the accused knew that whatever they were carrying in that Farakka Express knew that in that present matter, they had knowledge that these notes were to be used for attacking Pulwama and destroy the national integrity and sovereignty for the same. Your Honor, it is before moving on to the next submission, the council will define bulk as stated in section 5 of high quality counterfeit Indian currency offences rules 2013. Your Honor, under section 5, it has been demarcated into 2 points, that is face value of such note of such threshold amount should be more than 1 lakh, and Your Honor, the contained note should be of denomination more than 100. Your Honor, to substantiate this and substantiate mens rea, it is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court that the present matter falls under the ambit of the umbrella term traffic in such currency note. Your Honor, as stated in page number 49 of the compendium, please, Pandey, please open page number 49. Your Honor, traffic in such currency note has been defined in Raya Jasub Sama versus State of Gujarat. In that particular matter, Your Honor, the appellant, that is the accused, was found carrying 250 fake currency notes on a public road in the city of Bhuj, concealed in a beneath a cloth in a thela. Your Honor, the court observed that he was transporting the said currency at the time when he was apprehended. Therefore, it was stated that the case was not a case of mere dormant possession, but it is a case of active transportation of the currency. Your Honor, the further substantiated the large number of notes play an important role for this intention. Furthermore, Your Honor, reliance is placed upon Nandan Mahbul Sheikh, as stated on page number 52 of the compendium. Your Honor, please open page number 52. Your Honor, in that particular case, it was stated intention to trafficking or circulating can be gathered from the circumstance, and that is the number of notes found with the accused. Your Honor, it was stated that this is a prima facie, that it is observed that it is not a case of mere possession of fake currency in the penal code. Furthermore, Your Honor, in the present matter, it is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court that as stated by the counsel earlier as well, that the 500 notes as fall under the ambit of bulk and defined in the investigation rule, it clearly shows that it was indeed active transportation of such fake currency and not just mere dormant possession. Furthermore, Your Honor, all these circumstantial and substantive evidences provided before the court provide a very dormant, very huge chain of circumstantial evidence that connects the dot and proves to the point that it was indeed Sohail, Peter, Kallu at the Red Mama, Sameer and Monu who was involved in a conspiracy that would have hampered the security of the country. And Your Honor, it is further stated that on point 2 of this submission, Your Honor, it is stated, as stated by the Council of Definition of Bulk, that this amount as falls under the bulk, it cannot be just merely portrayed that this particular matter is just of dormant possession, and hence, Your Honor, it is humbly submitted as there is presence of mens rea, as these notes are considered to be counterfeit. All the elements required under conviction for 489B and C are fulfilled, and hence, Your Honor, it is humbly submitted that conviction shall be made under 489B and C of the Indian Penal Code. Your Honor, it is further stated before the Honorable Court that in the present matter, the conviction shall be made under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of 1967. Your Honor, to substantiate this particular conviction, it is humbly submitted that this particular act falls under the purview of Section 15 of Terrorist Act, which defines that whoever does any act with intent to threaten or likely to threaten the unity, integrity, security, economic security or sovereignty of India, or with intent to strike terror or likely to strike terror in the people or any section of people in India and foreign country. Your Honor, it is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court that this present matter falls under the ambit of Section 15, Clause A, Subclause 3A, which defines as damage to the monetary stability of India by way of production, smuggling, or circulating of high quality counterfeit Indian currency paper, coin, or of any other material. Your Honor, it is humbly stated before the Honorable. Pardon, Your Honor.
Have you finished?
You know, Your Honor. Your Honor, it is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court. The high quality counterfeit Indian currency is defined in the explanation 2 of the said section, which defines that the counterfeit currency as may be declared after examination by an authorized or a notified forensic authority that such currency imitate or compromises with the key security features as specified in 3rd schedule. Your Honor, it is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court as stated by the CFSL report as well. Your Honor, this particular matter falls under the ambit of Section 15. Your Honor, it was malicious intention from the side of all the accused that proves to the point that it was indeed a conspiracy against the country, as well as there was a planning to execute a plan against the army convoy in Pulwama. And as Your Honor, this particular matter falls under the ambit of Section 15. It is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court that punishment shall be granted to all the accused under Section 16 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, 1967. Your Honor, to further substantiate this punishment, it is humbly implored before the Honorable Court that presumption shall be taken as enshrined in Section 43, Clause E of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Your Honor, Section 43, Clause E defines that that the arms or explosive or any other substance specified in the said section were recovered from the possession of the accused, and there is reason to believe that such arms or explosive or other substances of similar nature were used in commission of such act, then, Your Honor, the court shall presume, unless the contrary is shown, that the accused has committed such offense. Your Honor, it is humbly implored before the Honorable Court as the particular accused, that is Samir and Monu, and as corroborated that it was indeed Kallu at the Red Mama who used to supply them these fake currency notes, it is humbly implored before the Honorable Court that presumption shall be taken of their guilt, and as presumption is taken, they should be granted with conviction, and they should be convicted under Section 16 of the Unlawful Activities Act. Your Honor, it is humbly implored that conviction shall be made under Section 17 of the UPA Act. Your Honor, for this submission, reliance is placed upon Ridaul Hussain Khan versus National Investigation Agency. Your Honor, in that particular case, it was stated that a person who raises, collects, or provides funds to an individual having knowledge of the fact that those individuals are involved in terrorist acts would come under the net of Section 17 of the Act. Your Honor, it was further substantiated that the criminal liability is imposed on him, irrespective of the fact as to whether the fund is actually used or not for the commission for the terrorist act. Furthermore, Your Honor, it is stated that in the present matter, this amount of money was to be used for conspiracy, as stated by my co-counsel and proven same by the counsel itself. Your Honor, the Guttu Singh under his statement had clearly stated that there would be indeed two men who would be carrying fake currency note on the train. And this particular statement has led to discovery of both the accused and has resulted in discovery of a larger organization who would have actually hampered the state's national security and integrity of a country. And hence, Your Honor, as the circumstantial evidences connect to each other and it is substantiated by the counsels as well, it is humbly implored before the Honorable Court that conviction shall be made under Section 17 of the Unlawful Activities Act, and for further state that in this particular matter, the ambit of conspiracy as defined and punishment as defined in Section 18 of the particular act as well falls under the ambit of it, and it is humbly implored before the Honorable Court. Conviction shall be granted under Section 18. Your Honor, the analysis of CDR reports and phone data of the phone seized from the accused Samir and Monu clearly established their movement from Madhya Pradesh to West Bengal and frequent telephonic. The counsel seeks permission for just 2 minutes to wrap up the argument, Your Honor.
Mr. Prosecution, I have certain questions. Your time is over.
Yes.
Where is the sanction for prosecution under UAPA Act? Who granted the permit sanction?
Pardon, Your Honor?
Which authority has granted the permission sanction for prosecution under UAPA Act?
Your Honor, in this particular matter, central government has issued the particular notification regarding the same under Section 9. Section 6.
This certificate is for prosecution or for the investigation?
Your Honor, this particular certificate is for NIA to take over the investigation and for...
Is there any sanction for prosecution? And if
Your Honor,
which authority has granted?
Your Honor, in this particular matter, as this matter is in the court of law, this particular, as stated by the council itself, that central government has issued this notice. This particular, these councils are trying to prove conviction that has to be made by the help of circumstantial evidences under 16, 17, 18, along with Section 13 of the NIA Act, Your Honor.
Very well. Now, in what manner you have proved the CDR?
Your Honor, in this particular matter, we have used Section 46 with the help of Section 46, which clearly states that, just a minute, Your Honor, that notwithstanding anything contained in Indian Evidence Act 1872 or any other law for the time being in force, the evidence collected through the interception of wire, electronic or oral communication in the provision shall be used, Your Honor.
So, how have you proved it?
Your Honor,
Who has
Your
proved
Honor,
this document?
much
Which
obliged, Your
witness
Honor.
has proved it?
Your Honor, in the present matter, the CDR report are mainly used for the side from the side of the prosecution to prove the connection between all the accused and form a circumstantial evidence in. And Your Honor, these mobile phones are with us in a primary sort form of evidence. And hence, Your Honor, this evidence is mainly used for proving the connection between all the accused because, Your Honor, accused number 4 has committed suicide on unknown grounds and accused number 5 is absconding.
Very well. Which witness has proved site plan?
Pardon, Your Honor?
Which witness has proved the site plan?
Pardon, Your Honor, you are not audible, Your Honor.
Next question. वो तो नहीं है. ठीक है. Next, गरिमा जी, any question from your side?
जी सर.
हाँ, कोई क्वेश्चन आपका है तो.
नहीं सर, बच्चों ने जो भी तैयार किया है.
Your Honor, the counsel shall seek just 2 minutes to wrap up their arguments along with the prayer, Your Honor.
Your time is over. We will give you time if necessary for the joinder.
So, Your Honor, just can the counsel take 20 seconds to wrap up the prayer?
No, we got your point.
Okay, Your Honor. It was a pleasure pleading before the audience.
Yes. Now defense.
May it please the court, I am the I'm the counsel representing the defense, accused A1, A2, and A3. The counsel would be dealing with the issues whether the evidence produced and the arrest made is admissible and legal. And my co-counsel would be dealing with the issues whether the accused have committed a terrorist act or not, and whether the accused are parties or member of a criminal conspiracy or not. In addressing the issue whether the evidence produced by the prosecution is admissible or not, the counsel would like to make 3 key submissions. Whether there's a procedure irregularities in the arrest, the CFSL report and the seizure memo. Whether the statements given under section 161 are admissible in court. Was there any identity disputes? The counsel submits that the procedure followed during the arrest of A1, A2, and A3 is not as per the procedure that is laid under section 41B, subclause B of CRP, Criminal Procedure Code, and the guidelines that were laid down in the landmark case of DK Basu versus State of West Bengal. When section 41B, subclause B is read along with the DK Basu guidelines, during the time of arrest, the officers are supposed to prepare an arrest memo which will include the signature of at least one witness, signature of the arrested person, and time and date of arrest. If the bench refers to annexes A, C, and J of the arrest memos of accused number A1, A2, and A3 of the moot proposition, it can be observed that all 3 accused A1, A2, and A3 have not signed their arrest memos. It can be also observed that the witnesses of the arrest have also not put their signature in the arrest memos. In closer examination, the bench can also see that in under Annex A and C, the signature of the officer who issued the arrest memo is actually predated. According to the arrest memos, it is given as the signature is given on 22/2/2015, but the arrest was done on 25/2/2015. As per the officers, the raid in the Faraka Express was done as per a secret information that they received on 24th February 2015, but the arrest memo has already been signed on 22/2/2015. So the counsel would like to question the authenticity of the arrest memo that was prepared, that should have been prepared at the time and place of the arrest as per the guidelines laid down by DK Basu case. It is also to be observed that the time and place of the arrest also need to be recorded in the arrest memo. as per the moot proposition in para 16.1, the accused A1 and A2 was apprehended at 10:55 a.m. On 25th February 2015. But in the arrest memo, the time of arrest is given as 11:20 p.m. There's an abnormal delay in time of almost 12 hours since the accused were apprehended and the time of arrest that has been recorded. The council would now like to submit the procedure regularity surrounding the CFSL report. As per Rule 6, Subclause 1 of the investigation of high quality investigation of high quality Indian currency offense rules, Rule 6. There's a clause that once the counterfeit notes are submitted for analysis to the Central Forensic Science Laboratory or the competent authority, the preliminary report has to be submitted within 15 days. But as per the moot proposition, we can para number 16.4, it can be observed that the preliminary report was only submitted on 16th April 2015. This is almost 2 months after the seized notes were submitted for analysis. Now the council would like to submit a procedure irregularity surrounding the seizure memo. As per section 100 clause 4 of CRPC, presence of 2 independent witnesses is required. But it can be observed that as per the seizure memo under annexure H, F and C, there is only presence of 1 independent witness. And the prosecution cannot contend that there was no enough independent witnesses present because the arrest was done, the seizure was done in a railway station. The council would like to submit that the irregularity surrounding the seizure memo and the CFSL report shows that there are irregularities surrounding the major crux of this case and the primary evidence that is presented by the prosecution. Now the council would like to submit whether the statements made under section 161 are admissible or not. The council submits that it is a well-established proposition of law that the statements made under section 161 is not admissible. It is not admissible in evidence and cannot be used to convict the accused. The Supreme Court has reiterated this numerous times, and in the case of Parvat Singh versus State of Madhya Pradesh, a late judgment recently in 2020, the Supreme Court again reiterated the fact that section 161 can be only used to prove contradictions or omissions made by the state in the statements that are made. Confession is a voluntary admission of guilt as per section 25 of the Evidence Act, and the confession that has been so heavily relied by the prosecution is recorded by the police under section 161 of CRPC, and the council submits that it is not admissible in evidence. The council would also like to submit that the information given by PW1, who gave the source information, has given the age of A2 as someone who is born in 1950 as per the FIR. But when the charge sheet was filed after the investigation is over, it is shown that the age, the date of birth of the accused number A2 is in fact 1985. So there's a discrepancy of almost 35 years. So when the source information is given and the description of someone who the police have to look to, when the information is given would vary from a person who's age 65 and a person who's a young man who's age 30. So the information that the police say that they received from the source information that they used to apprehend accused number A1 and A2 cannot be also relied. With this, the council rests this argument. If the bench has no further queries, my co-counsel would be continuing with the rest of the arguments. It's been a pleasure pleading before the bench.
Who will answer about CDR?
My co-counsel will. Yeah.
Who will answer about sanction?
The sanction,
Sanction part.
my co-counsel would answer that part. Yeah. Yeah.
May I start, Your Lordship?
Yes, you may.
May it please the court, this is speaker number 2 for the defense, representing A1, A2, A3, that is Samir, Monu, and Kalu alias Mama, respectively. With the permission of the bench, the counsel would like to proceed with the submissions.
Yes, start.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. The counsel shall address the issue of the suspected currency notes for which the accused has been charged under Section 489B and 489C of the Indian Penal Code and Section 16 and 17 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, from hereinafter referred to as UAPA, and the issue of conspiracy for which the accused has been charged under Section 120B and Section 18 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. In addressing the issue of the suspected currency notes, the counsel shall make 3 key submissions, Your Lordship. 1, there was a delay in the preliminary report, as my co-counsel stated. 2, there was no consistency in the CFSL reports that was received during the investigation. And 3, there was no mens rea which is required to be established by the prosecution to charge the accused under Section 489B and 489C of the Indian Penal Code, Your Lordship. The counsel shall move on to the first sub-issue. The counsel seeks permission to share the screen, Your Lordship.
Yes, go ahead. Proceed.
Is the screen visible, Your Lordship?
Yes.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. The counsel would like the bench to refer to page number 13 of the moot position, where as per 16.1, all the items recovered the day the accused parties were detained, that is February 25th, 2015, all the items recovered were seized. That is, these items include their baggages, their ID cards, their small amount of cash, and their railway tickets. And the counsel would like to focus on the date, that is 25th February 2015, Your Lordship. Now, the counsel would like to draw the attention of the bench to paragraph 16.4 of the moot proposition, where it is stated, just as my co-counsel stated, that a preliminary report of CFSL dated 16th April 2015. Here we can see that there is a 2 months gap between the seizure and the forwarding of preliminary report by the CFSL. And also the prosecution has failed to furnish the information as to when and how the seized currency notes were sent to CFSL for further examination. The counsel would like...
How much time is required generally? Instead of 2 months, according to you, what should be the time frame?
Thank you for raising a valid question, Your Lordship. The counsel will be coming to that. As per Rule 6, Clause 1 of the Investigation of High Quality Counterfeit Currency Offences 2013, it is stated that once you seize certain currency notes, it has to be sent to the CFSL or the authorized forensic authority within 50. The preliminary report has to be sent by the CFSL within 15 days, and the currency note which has been seized has to be sent to the authority within 48 hours of seizure, Your Lordship. So, referring to Rule 6 Clause 1 and 6 Clause 2 of this rules. So, in the present case, the rules have not been followed by the prosecution. It has either the CFSL has failed to send the preliminary report within the stipulated time, or the officers has failed to send the seized currency notes within the stipulated time. And from this, it raises a question or a suspicion as to whether there was any tampering of evidence while it was sent to the CFSL for further examination, Your Lordship.
But the currency was recovered from you.
Yes, Your Lordship. However,
why why a person would carry so much huge amount of currency?
Your
What is
Lordship.
your explanation to that?
Your Lordship, thank you for raising a valid question, Your Lordship. In the present case, the accused parties have indulged in various social activities which involves raising of funds for such organizing of such events and skill development programs. And it involves raising of funds, Your Lordship. And so they were carrying such amount with them.
Carrying such a huge amount?
Yes, Your Lordship. They were carrying such huge amount to
And
conduct such.
why have you received 3 lakhs rupees extra? Is it a
lakhs?
fact that apart from fake currency note, you also got some remuneration?
Your Lordship, those statements were given by the accused party when they were in the police custody, and those statements come under Section 1.
It was 164 statement.
No, Your Lordship, the statements were given under Section 164. Lordship.
It's an exhibited document. Very well. Go. You continue.
Okay. Much obliged, Your Lordship. As per now, moving on to the second sub issue, which is dealing with the consistency in the CFSL report. The council would like to refer to page number 17 of the Moore proposition, where it is showing that the preliminary report sent by the CFSL was filed as number 12342/2015, and another examination which the CFSL has conducted on a part of the seized currency notes were filed as 12432/2015. Now, the council would like to draw the attention of the bench to page number 25 of the Moore proposition, where it is showing the various report numbers. And from there, the file numbers show that the preliminary report file number was 123/2015, and the part examination of the seized currency notes were a completely different file number, which is 563/2015 and 1204/2015. From this, it is very clear that based on the information that was given in the previous paragraph of the Moore proposition and based on the information in the table, it is very clear that there is no match in the file numbers that files that has been given by CFSL, and it shows that there has been some sort of discrepancy and inconsistency in the reporting, and therefore it is very clear that the prosecution has not been able to provide substantial evidence to prove that these are counterfeit notes, as these documents are inconsistent in nature. And so and also the council would like to add on to this by stating that when the prosecution is claiming that these are high quality counterfeit notes and they're of such high quality in nature, the prosecution has failed to furnish information as to why they were considered as high quality counterfeit notes, because as per Schedule 3 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, it is very clear that there are certain basic features that ascertain it to be high quality, and none of such information has been stated from the side of the prosecution. And also this can be seen in paragraph 17.35, where it states that CFSL New Delhi did not provide any other explanation about their conclusion, which their conclusion is that it is of high quality in nature, Your Lordship. From this, it can be stated that these documents that has been put forth by the prosecution do not stand in the present case, as there are inconsistencies in the same. Now, the council would like to move on to the third sub-issue, which is dealing with mens rea. According to Section 489B and 489C of the Indian Penal Code, mens rea is an important and essential requirement to charge an individual under this section. And in the present case, mens rea is not present among the accused parties for two valid reasons, Your Lordship. One, the CFSL reports do not stand in the present case, and so the actus reus is not proved in the present case, Your Lordship, and therefore mens rea is not required to be proved. And the second reason that the council would like to put forth is that if at all the CFSL reports were to be considered authentic in nature, as per the prosecution's claim that it is of high quality nature, one cannot discern with its naked eye that whether it is a fake Indian currency or a real Indian currency due to its high quality nature. And therefore, here the prosecution should have proven that the currency was in the possession of the accused parties. They should have proved the knowledge of the accused parties rather than presuming knowledge of the accused. And the council would like to establish this very point with the help of the case of state of with the help of the case that is M. Mammootty versus state of state of Karnataka, where it is stated that if counterfeit notes are of such nature that mere look at them would not convince a person that it is counterfeit, then no presumption of knowledge can be attributed to the person merely possessing them. So, in the
What was the quantity in that case?
In that case, Your Lordship, it was. It was 99. It was back in. It was a very old case, Your Lordship. So
what was the quantity?
It was 99 notes of 2 rupees, Your Lordship. It's a very old case. They were
So quantity will matter or not?
Yes, Your Lordship. Quantity
If
will
I
matter.
give you some money, huge quantity of money, when there is prohibition in transportation of cash beyond 20,000, but you will not ask any question. You will simply take the money and transport it.
No, Your Lordship, the questions were put forth to the accused parties. However, the accused party has substantiated that these parties were not aware that these were counterfeit in nature. They were of the very they didn't have any knowledge as to whether these were counterfeit in nature or not.
What is your submission about call details?
Your Lordship, that the council will be dealing with in the issue of conspiracy, Your Lordship. Should I substantiate that right now or later on?
As per your choice.
The council will be dealing with that in the next issue.
You should have sufficient time then.
Your Lordship, I'll wrap this issue up quickly as possible. And also, with this, it is very clear that the prosecution has presumed the knowledge of the accused, and at the same time, they have presumed the knowledge just because of the mere possession of the accused parties. And the council would like to refer to the case of Sundarlal versus State Government of NCT of Delhi, where it is stated that mere possession of counterfeit currency note is not enough to establish guilt, Your Lordship.
Again, what was the quantity in that case?
Your Lordship, according to the case of Sundarlal, just a moment, Your Lordship.
If you have 2-3 currency note, fake currency note, and if you have 500 fake currency note, it makes hell of the difference.
Yes, Your Lordship, I'm aware of, the council is aware of the same. However, in the case of Your Lordship.
Very well, proceed further.
Yes, Your Lordship. In the case of Sundarlal, it was found that it was found 500 denominations of counterfeit notes were found from the possession.
How many?
The council wasn't able to find the information as to how many. The denomination was 500 notes, Your Lordship. Much obliged, Your Lordship. Therefore, the council would like. Much obliged, Court Master. Now the council would like to state that since with the presumption of knowledge they have established, these sections do not apply in the present case, Your Lordship. And with that, the council would like to state that Section 16 of the UAPA do not apply in the present case, Your Lordship, as it is dealing with punishment for a terrorist act. And in the present case, the accused parties have not committed any terrorist act as the prosecution has charged them for smuggling counterfeit notes. Here, there was no intention, there was no knowledge, there was no actus reus, there was no proved actus reus because the CFSL reports do not stand in the present case, Your Lordship. Also, according to Section 17 of the UAPA, since the terrorist act has not been committed, they have not had an intention to raise funds for a terrorist act. They have been raising funds, but for a good intention. For accused parties, they were working towards sensitizing people. They were working towards.
What is the evidence? What is the evidence for social work?
They have stated that they have been working in their witness statements.
Which witness has testified?
The defense witness, that is, the accused parties have testified, Your Lordship, as defense witnesses.
Do you have any documentary evidence?
Yes, Your Lordship, it's there. It's present in the moot proposition. The defense witness statements, and in that they have clearly stated that they have been indulging in social related activities. A1 has been indulging in such activities from 2013.
It's okay. Chali.
Yeah, much obliged, Your Lordship. And with this, the council would like to state that the accused parties have not committed any act or any, and they cannot be charged under the sections of UAPA and IPC, Your
Now,
Lordship.
straight, because you are left with only two minutes. Straight to CDR.
Yes, Your Lordship. Here, much obliged, Your Lordship. The prosecution has failed to establish the essentials of conspiracy, and the prosecution has heavily relied on the CDRs to establish agreement between the parties in the present case, Your Lordship. And first of all, the illegal act is not present in the present case as established by the council. However, the agreement they have used by stating that they have merely inferred to the CDRs to show that these parties have been conspiring. However, these parties have been friends for a considerable number of years. And as my counsel for the...
Now, what about sanction?
Section 65B is the section for electronic evidences and not Section 45 of
minutes. It took 5 minutes to tell that 65B nahi hai.
Your Lordship,
your first point.
Your Lordship, Section 65B, the council seeks extension of 1 minute. Section 65B also...
You made your point, 65B is okay. That is valid point. Now, what about sanction?
Sanction as from the... the sanction is given under 196 of the CRPC from district magistrate, and
you missed this point. Okay.
Your Lordship.
Now you continue the way you want.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. The CDRs have been actually was supposed to be presented in the court under Section 65B and not 45 as my counsel for the prosecution stated. And also a certificate is required under Section 65B to present such a
judgment. Which is that judgment?
It's in the guidelines presented in Section 65B clause 4.
No, there is departure now.
Yes, Your Lordship.
By which
it is in there is a exception to this present matter, Your Lordship, that is in Shafi Mohammed versus State of Himachal Pradesh. However, the Council of Prosecution could have very well taken the affidavit from the side of the mobile service providers and could have submitted this certificate, because in Shafi Mohammed it has been stated very clearly that if they have access to the device, and whoever has the access to the device can provide the certificate. And here the call detail records are with the mobile service providers, and they can easily provide the affidavit for this present case, Your Lordship.
What is the citation of Shafi Mohammed?
I remember the case. It is a 2018 case, and it's a Supreme Court case. Is all I remember, Your Lordship. And also the council. Your Lordship, just a conclusion that based on the statements given by the accused parties, they were it is very clear that these parties have been indulging in social related activities and there was no intention in causing any terrorist act. And from this, it is very clear.
You are repeating. Okay, you have said.
Sorry. It's a conclusion. Apologies, Your Lordship. And also, Section 20 of the UAPA will not stand in the present case because it is a punishment for terrorist for being a part of terrorist gang or organization. And here, the accused parties are not a party to such organization, and it's not anywhere stated that they are a party to such organization. And their activities are not linked with any of the organization. They're in any of the recognized organization under Schedule 1 of the UAPA. And with that, the council would like to rest your arguments, and the council seeks permission for addressing the prayer.
It's not required.
Much obliged. It's a pleasure.
Now the council seeks permission for rejoinders. Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, first of all, trying to answer the answer of Section 65B. Your Honor, the certificate in the certificate compliance according to Anwar PV versus PK Bashir is immaterial in the present case because that certificate restricts to the secondary form of evidences. Your Honor, in the case of Vikram Singh versus State of Punjab, Criminal Law Journal 2017, the Honorable Supreme Court held when the devices are present in the court in a primary form, such certificates are immaterial. Your Honor, in the present case,
which device has been produced in the court?
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, the mobile phones of the accused, as admitted by the defense counsel itself, are present in the court. Your Honor, therefore, Your Honor, those evidences are to be considered as primary evidences. Hence, the report under Section 65 capital B is immaterial in the present case. Moreover, Your Honor, according to Section 46 of UAPA Act, Your Honor, every evidence against... sorry, Your Honor.
No, it's all right.
Yes, every evidence under Section 46 is admissible in the court of law, notwithstanding with anything in the Indian Evidence Act. And Your Honor, Section 46 of the UAPA Act specifies that the electronic records are admissible in the court of law, notwithstanding with any provision in the Indian Evidence Act. Your Honor, moving on to the next.
2 months gap.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, the worthy process, the answer to the same is twofold, Your Honor. First, Your Honor, the scrutiny of CFSL report is not necessary in the present case because, Your Honor, according to Exhibit 4, the district magistrate has investigated the CFSL report and have accepted that the perfect investigation under Section 6 and subsection 3 of investigation of fake currency notes were done by the police. Moreover, Your Honor, every case that the worthy defense counsel has stated considered have amount of notes such as 99 notes, 52 notes, or 63 notes, Your Honor. Your Honor, in the present case, the timing that the defense counsel showed was the timing of the publishing of the report, Your Honor. Your Honor, in that case, Your Honor, the 16th April is the date. However, Your Honor, in the present case, there were the presence of 500 notes. And Your Honor, 500 notes takes time to be scrutinized perfectly, Your Honor. Your Honor, such time doesn't show that the prosecution has not correctly presented the CFSL report, but it shows that the CFSL report was made after the perfect scrutiny of each and every note and each and every 500 note presented by the prosecution. Moreover, Your Honor, the counsel itself has tried to mislead the court. The defense counsel has tried to mislead the court by stating that there were discrepancy in the arrest memo. However, Your Honor, according to the clarification sent by the moot organizers, these are just the typographical errors, therefore that cannot be considered by the honorable court. Moreover, Your Honor, according to the case of sorry, Your Honor.
You admit that there is error, typographical.
No, Your Honor. Your Honor, these are the typographical errors on behalf of the moot court committee, moot court organizing committee, Your Honor.
Very well.
Moreover, Your Honor, the worthy defense counsel has stated that the signature of accused are not present in arrest memo. However, Your Honor, in case of Kishore Kumar Bhadur versus State of Maharashtra, the honorable court has stated that the signature of arrestee is not necessary on the arrest memo or the seizure memo, and non-signed arrest memo or seizure memo does not make the evidence inadmissible. Moreover, Your Honor, the defense counsel agreed that the notes were in possession of all the accused, Your Honor. Therefore, Your Honor, they shall be held liable under Section 489. Moreover, Your Honor, it is most humbly submitted that there is presence of Section 121, 123, and Your Honor, according to Section 101, capital A of Indian Evidence Act, when the charges of 121 and 123 are applied, the burden of proof shifts from prosecution to defense in order to prove the accused innocent beyond any reasonable doubt. Moreover, Your Honor, the charges under Section 15 are also involved in the present case. Therefore, Your Honor, according to Section 43, capital E of UAPA Act 1967, again, the burden of proof falls on the defense counsel to prove beyond any reasonable doubt that the accused is innocent beyond any reasonable doubt. Moreover, Your Honor, on the first instance, the prosecution itself stated that the 161 statement are inadmissible. However, later, on the very later stage, they accepted themselves that according to 161 statement, knowledge cannot be proved. Moreover, Your Honor, the prosecution counsel has not used any of the confessional statements in order to prove the guilt. Your Honor, the prosecution counsel has used non-confessional statements present in the statements of the accused, which can be used according to the case of Jagroop versus Queen Empress. Moreover, Your Honor, as proved that the CDR reports are admissible in the court, Your Honor. Therefore, Your Honor, any confession given by the accused about the Sohil, who is not the accused in the present case, is admissible. Moreover, any confession by accused 1 and A2 given about Kallu Mama is also admissible in the court by the virtue of Section 30 of Indian Evidence Act.
Rebuttal time is over, so I'm giving
Just concluding, Your
I'm
just
giving you another 30 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Conclude.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, therefore, the confession about Kallu Mama and Sohil in the present case are admissible by the virtue of Section 30 of the Indian Evidence Act. Therefore, Your Honor, it is most humbly submitted that the CDR reports in the present case shows the direct connection between all the accused, Your Honor. Therefore, Your Honor, a connection between such connection of A1 and A2 with criminal like Sohil, who perpetrated the whole plan, is a ground and is a valid ground for proving the criminal conspiracy under Section 120 capital B
We
of
will
Indian
consider.
Code
We will
1860.
consider.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Speaker number 2, 30 seconds, if you want to add. Prosecution, speaker number 2, 30 seconds.
I can't.
Honor, the council rests its case and it have proved
Very well.
beyond reasonable doubt.
Defense, 30 seconds more.
The counsel would like to state that the counsel for the prosecution has stated that Section 65B is the electronic evidence is not a secondary evidence. However, as per Section 65 and as per Section 63, it is very clear that electronic evidences are secondary evidences in the present case, and it must be submitted under Section 65B of the Evidence Act, Your Lordship.
That's all. Very well. Court master, sir. Garima ji, sorry. Garima ji, any question? Garima ji?
So there might be any network connection problem with the Miss Garima
Court
ji.
master, sir. Now we should finish this. It's over.
Oh, yeah, sure, sir. We're going to finish this out now. I request.
No, sir.
Sir, Garima ma'am is there. Ma'am,
Garima ji, any question? I think poor.
No question, sir.
so okay, with the due permission of the honorable judges, we like to wind up the entire session now. So we request.
Thank you.
We request all the students and the judges. Student will be leaving first, and then after the judges will be leaving. So I request the student to log out first, and then after that the judges will be logging out.
Thank you, Your Honor. It was an honor pleading before the honorable court.
Much obliged.
Indeed, Your Honor, it was an honor.
So students may log out first. And sir, you are requested to kindly share the mark sheet as soon as possible, either on the WhatsApp or the mail, and make sure that it is done or at the early opportunity available, because we have to submit the marks as soon as possible. So kindly provide that mark sheet on the early day. Thank you, judges, for your valuable time. Thank you, Garima ji. Thank you, Podar sir. Thank you very much.
Podar, sir.